now we will listen Ylan DAMEROSE from Paris University, and his title is Ecotopia to Solarpunk, What Perspective for Energy World, a look on energy market actors communications. Dear Ylan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to share my screen, but I don't know. I don't have the option available.
It can be available.
Yeah, I know.
You will see an arrow at the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I know. I have the screen with the arrow, but I click on it and it doesn't work at all.
Okay. First, you will open your presentation and then try to same steps. Okay.
Okay.
Is it work?
Yes, now I think it's going to work. Yes. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a PhD student from Paris University, and also I work for an energy company from France, and that's why I'm working on energy representation, and my thesis is about evolution of energy representation in French advertising. And today for this seminar, I took the opportunity to ask my corpus this question about desirable futures. And I will present my work today about that. So my presentation will be divided into key parts. The first one is a reflection about desirable futures. What does desirable futures mean? And the second part will be a corpus analysis on energy advertising, tracing how narratives of the future have evolved from the 1960s to today's, and how companies use these narratives to shape their brand identity and consumer behavior. So I really ask myself, what does desirable futures means? And when you look at, you can, you can, deduce that it's a future that we want, that we desire, that is positive, but when you look into the internet, you can see that desirable futures appear in reaction to the prevailing dystopian discourse in narrative related to global warming and climate change. So this kind of discourse gives nightmarish, really negative scenario. And this kind of negative perspective disengage people from future temporality. Maybe that's why we can see decreased desire to have children in French people. So this implication, we can ask if desirable futures are the same as utopias, is if they are opposed to dystopia. And also, desirable futures are positive scenario, which aim to reinvest future as a desirable temporality. It's how I understand it. And then I try to position it on a semiotic square to understand how desirable futures can be different from utopia. And what we can see is that utopia is really something that is non-existent, that is an ideal space that we fantasize. So it's a fiction, it's virtual, and desirable future is more about what is feasible, what we can realize in the real world. So I oppose them on this different mode of existence between actualized and virtuality. And so I position others type like dystopia and undesirable future on the square. But when you look more into what is desirable future, this vision is a little bit narrow. And when you look into future thinking, that is a science, no, it's not a science, it's a creative and exploratory process that uses divergent thinking. So this kind of thinking is, placing the future in different kind of possibility. So here you can see a representation that is the future cone of Voros, and you can see that you have all kinds of future with different levels of possibility: preposterous, so impossible; possible, plausible, and probable. And what is preferable futures, so for us desirable future, is the green cone, and it can be an assembly of different kind of possibility. So preferable future can be impossible, probable, plausible, and possible. So in this way, I will put the semiotic square in a pensive space to show the graduality in the logical modality of possibility. So here, how now I can understand better desirable future. So thanks to the future thinking, we can understand desirable future as a spectrum with different degree of possibility existing. Desirable future include utopias, but is not restrictive to utopias, and they are not opposed. Desirable future are all the scenarios about the future that we judge as desirable. So then the question now that is, I think, really interesting to ask about desirable future in general, but it will not be my object today, is about the variety of axiology which determine what is desirable or not. So the question is important, is about what kind of future we want and not the possibility of it. It would not be what different desirable future from any other kind of scenario. So now now that we understand a little bit more about what is desirable future, I will try to see in my corpus from my PhD thesis how advertising are representing desirable future. So my corpus is from French TV advertising from 1969 to nowadays, and also recent advertising from European and Turkish energy companies. I will use Bartesian image analysis and Grimatian narrative analysis. What we can see is that from 1969 to 1984, there is no discourse about the future. From 1969 to 1973, energy modernity, so all the tools, all the automatic new machine like laundry machine and stuff, they change your daily life, so they change the present time. You don't have any representation of the future, since the future is in the present. So in this time, you have the past compared to the present. You can see with the image of an ad just on the page, where you can see a man that is working to get water, and then you have this image of automatic hot water, a heater water. And then between 1973 to 1984, it's the oil shock. And at this time, energy is in tension. And it is really discourse about present emergency. We need to do things right now. So you need to limit your consumption. You have to save the energy right now. Is really the the period of presentism. So no discourse about the future during this time in French advertising. Then from 1984 to 1987, we have some beginning of discourse about the future appearing. So at this time, there is no link between climate change and discourse about the future. I think it's because this time is really an intertext with science fiction movie trends, where companies try to engage in the future with innovation and investment. It's also, I think, a reaction to the old shocks presentism. The emergency have a response in the future. So now the company try to reassure consumers, and they need to provide guarantees about the future. Don't worry, there is no danger anymore, you know? And then from 1987 to nowadays, discourse about the future are linked to climate change. Climate change introduces uncertainty in the continuity of the world. So now energy companies have to engage in this future. They have to change the energy they sell to participate in this future. And in this case, companies have different strategies. First, you have dystopian future. You have they show dystopian futures as, in the first image, human transforming as gorillas, or second image, the destruction of the world at the ending of the game, or also an attack of aliens. This kind of dystopian images uses anxiety and fear to convince consumer to adhere to a proposed solution. Sometimes is energy saving, green energy plans, or company engagement. They use this dystopian future to also, convey a certain desirable future. But mainly, advertising is the best way to sell utopias and desirable future. And in this case, they sell their technology to demonstrate the engagement in sustainability with desirable future. The goal is for humans to live in harmony with nature. And we can see in this ad that the children, the new vision of the energy is to create a compatibility between the city, the really new futurist city, and the nature. The visions of energy advertising are mainly techno-utopian. It means that technology will solve climate change. But however, each company has a certain imaginary. I will show you. So we can see that GDF, so Gaz de France, and
sorry.
yes,
sorry,
I'm almost done. I'm concluding.
Can you hear me?
Just yes.
Yes, last 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Do you still see my screen?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it's gone.
Okay, let's go.
Dystopia.
Up. Check. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, it's
yes.
big.
Okay, thank you. So we can see that some companies like GDF or Energisa from Turkey are offering a natural and united world, like a kind of solarpunk imaginary. So the ad I show here is Energisa ad. And you can see a group of children seeking a treasure, and the treasure is the sun. And they really are confronting two different obstacles, but they go over it and they find the sun at the end. So it is the solarpunk imaginary between, the sun as a hope and a happy society symbol. And then you have really what is the major imaginary, it's EDF and it is Iberdrola, that is a Spanish company, Fluxys, that is a Belgium company. They are inspired by technological imaginary. So you can see on these two images from ad that they include in nature really like high technology stuff to recognize your track when you go walking in the wood. I don't remember how we say that in English. And then you have all this representation of futurist technological research with screen and holograms. And then you have this Vattenfall, which is a company from Sweden, and they do an ad on hydrogen, and they do it as glamorous and industrial imaginary. So the ad is representing Clara de Vilding, I think, and she is selling the water from hydrogen emission, and she is bathing in this water from zero emission industrial. Yeah. So in conclusion, we can observe that discourse about the future is circumstantial in energy advertising. It depends on the relationship between energy and society and time. Since energy impacts and prosperity of the earth are intertwined, discourse about the futures has appeared in energy advertising. Moreover, representation of desirable futures are different. Each company has its own imaginary associated with the type of energy, the cell, or the philosophy. Thank you for your attention.